Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, sir. Kung anong oras mo man po ito mapapanood. I am Jari May Garcia Aban from LJPS 02, and today I will present to you my final exam, which is my cognitive plan of action. So my first cognitive plan of action po is I will always focus on what matters now. So my basis here is that attention is a psychological resource. We cannot focus on so many things while we're dealing with another thing. And that reminds me of one famous line, which is one step at a time. Because you cannot do things at the same time, such as driving while using your cell phone, because if that happens, accident may occur. So the past few months, there has been a lot of things that is going on in my mind. And it sucks kasi talagang naapektuhan niya yung mental health ko. And ako po kasi yung tipo ng tao na I used to imagine or visualize na kung ano yung pwedeng mangyari sa future ko. Kasi syempre mag-isa ko pong anak, wala po akong karamay sa kung ano man po yung pwedeng mangyari sa buhay ko, pero wag naman po muna sana. Syempre, wala naman pong magwa-warn sa atin na, uy, mamamatay na bukas sa mama mo, uy, huling dinner mo na with your mom. And, so, as much as possible po, dapat maging ready ako, maging advance ako. Dapat may laging solusyon na nakaabang sa kung ano yung mga dapat mangyari para hindi ko na ulit mapagdaanan yung napagdaanan ko nung mga panahong hindi ako naging ready. Lalo na po at mag-isa kong anak, and to think na yung mga mga kapatid po ng mama ko po kasi wala na din. Mga pinsan ko, may mga sarili-sarili na din po silang mga family. Yung mga kapatid ng papa ko, syempre may mga family din po sila. Hindi naman po pwedeng iasa ko yung buhay namin sa kanila. And dahil po dyan, nakalimutan ko pong i-appreciate yung sarili ko. Kung ano man po yung meron ako, kung ano man po yung mga ganap sa buhay ko in the present moment. And thinking of the things na hindi pa nangyayari, almost made me a crazy person. Kasi nadi-disappoint ako na baka hindi ko magampanan yung responsibility ko as a daughter. And baka mag-fail ulit ako, or baka mapagdaanan ko ulit yung mga bagay na hindi ko na dapat pang pagdaanan. So, my second cognitive plan of action is that I will always make sure that I have enough sleep. And my basis here is sleeping is a neurological activity. Studies have shown that there is a connection between sleep and attention. So, lalo na po ngayon dahil malapit na ang finals, I experience yung kulang sa tulog, or yung kulang sa tulog, like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. na po nakakatulog because we are rushing some activities po, like lab reports, researches, activities, ganon, kasi may mga teacher po na alam niyo po kung makapagbigay para pong walang bukas, ganon. Pero hindi po kayo yun. We appreciate you po kasi naintindihan niyo po kami, like tigi-isang activity lang po sa inyo. And dun ko po na-realize na if you have pag wala kang enough sleep, parang mahihirapan kang mag-isip kasi bangag ka like minsan kailangan din ng brain natin ng rest time for us to function well. I remember kanina 4 a.m. na po ako natulog. Kasi nga yun nga po yung gaya na sabi ko kanina, may mga lab reports, ganyan. And then, mga tanghali po yata, nag-chat yung kagrupo ko dun sa lab report na asking me something about our lab report. Syempre, parang yung utak ko po kailangan pa po niyang mag-rest. Hindi ko po siya masagot ng maayos. Like, hindi ko po maibigay yung tamang details kasi parang yung utak ko po pagod na pagod pa. Kaya, yun, I took a rest again, and then after that, nung nagkaroon na po ako ng enough sleep, dun ko na po siya ulit chinat na, ito yung gagawin dyan, ganyan. So, sometimes you also need a rest time. Our brain also need a rest time. So for my third cognitive plan of action, I will discover more the intelligences that I have, may it be bodily, kinesthetic, musically, and so on. So my basis here is that Gardner claimed that the traditional concept of intelligence, which was based on IQ testing, did not fully and correctly reflect a person's skills. We can always choose to improve or have the willingness to discover and explore kung ano man yung kagalingan natin. So, growing up with a very conservative family deprived me from discovering some things that I felt I excel with. There was this one scenario wherein I tried to join the tryout for basketball women in our school without my parents knowing it. And nung magbabayaran na and magsusukatan na ng jersey, because in 2 weeks we will be having our inter-high league, syempre sa mama ako hihingi ng pambayad, and then tinanong niya kung saan ko yan gagamitin. Then I told her honestly na it's for my jersey kasi natanggap ako sa tryout ng basketball women's. And she asked me that I should quit kasi it's not good for a girl like me to join yung mga ganong bagay. So, since then, I realized na if I am rejected in what I excel with, I should discover more or try yung ibang sports that a girl like me can play. So, I tried joining the badminton women during our foundation day, which resulted to championship for women single, and also tried volleyball women, which resulted to first runner-up. And that's not bad because I discovered our new talents and skills. So as we grow up, we should explore and discover more about ourselves, our intelligences, our skills, our talents. We should never stop. For my fourth cognitive plan of action, I will always do my best to attain high grades. The idea that suits this is yung effort influence on nurture. Intelligence is not only from our genes and our environment. We should always strive to be intelligent to become smarter. So during elementary and high school days, I was always pressured. My grades are being compared and laughed on, especially when I got the lower grade. So grades back then was used to measure how smart you are as a person. And if you don't belong to honor rolls, then you are not smart. So then I realized that if my grades weren't enough, I should strive and do my best to be always included in honor rolls. So to become included in honor rolls, syempre nagpabida-bida ako. I joined a lot of organizations, events in schools, even if it doesn't suit me. And I really studied harder. My mom even enrolled me to gave me a tutor. So during my high school days, I became a consistent top 1 student because I studied harder and joined extracurricular activities na hindi ko aakalain na mapapasama ako. So we should always strive harder to become smarter. So for my fifth cognitive plan of action, I will always make sure to remember the memories I had when I was still a kid. So long-term memory is the basis here. The mechanism which enables us to store information and experiences in a lasting fashion for possible retrieval at some point in the future. So, habang lumalaki tayo, padagdag ng padagdag yung mga alaala natin. And being a very sentimental person, I always wanted to keep the past memories which made me for who I am now. And so I decided to always look back and review or recall the memories that I had. Ayoko naman nung magpa-family reunion yung buong family, tas pag-uusapan yung childhood ko, tas ako parang, nangyari ba yan? Did that exist in my life? So I should always remember the good memories because I know that it is also healthy for my cognitive and it's good. So for my sixth cognitive plan of action, I will always make sure to pause and reflect before doing something or saying something. So my basis here is taking the time to pause and reflect is a superpower, and it opens the door to making great decisions. So the past few years, I did make a very impulsive decision in my life which resulted sa hindi kaaya-ayang pangyayari. Regrets do keep on chasing me after that. Then there I realized that before doing something big, I should do the SWOT analysis. So I can see the good and the bad of it and what hinders it to happen. Para wala akong matapakan na ibang tao and wala akong masaktan na ibang tao, I should always pause and reflect before doing a big decision in my life. My seventh cognitive plan of action is I will always make sure to pay attention and avoid distraction when learning. So my basis here is that it was said that the more you pay attention, the more the good or the better memory you have. So honestly, there are times when we get distracted while learning, especially when we felt bored or we feel bored in class. We tend to use our cell phones or open another tab, which results na walang natutunan. If wala kang natutunan, of course, pagdating ng exam, dyan na pumapasok yung mga favorite lines ng mga students like me na, naturo ba to? Hala, may ganito ba? Did that exist? Which results to bad grades and bad memory. Because we didn't try to rehearse or recall and even discipline ourselves while the teacher was teaching. So if we focus or pay attention, then we exercise our mind to save the information for us to remember when examinations, quizzes, or activities exist. So my 8th cognitive plan of action is that I will take life positively and avoid negativity. It was said by Albert Ellis, our mental health greatly depends on our belief system. What we believe in greatly affect our mental health, which causes depression, anxiety, and so on. The past few years was really tough for me. Like, I've been through a lot of bad situations in my life that caused me anxiety, depression, and also thought of ending life. And it was like I'm stuck in a room where there's no way out. All what people say to me ay nakatatak sa akin. And so what I did was to think of it and believe it that I should be like this, to be like that, I should be like this so that they will be proud and so on. Then one time when I wake up, I realized that their opinions have nothing to do with me and I should not take it to mind and heart. Kasi I am the driver of my own life. I should live life the way I wanted it to be nang walang natatapakang tao. I should live life where my parents will be proud of and I should live life with only God words in me. Hindi yung kung ano yung sinasabi ng iba, yun yung dapat kong kabuhayan. My 9th cognitive plan of action is I will always make sure to do maximizing pattern when making decision. My basis here is the maximizing pattern is when you think and rethink all possible outcomes before choosing the best option. It's like the SWOT analysis, pero they are different in some points. So what I understand here is wag maging padalos-dalos kasi pag you are rushing, you are prone to making mistakes. So when we are deciding or finding for a solution, we should always rethink and rethink until we have come up with a great solution. So last year, I was torn on selling the house my mom asked me not to sell. It was 4 weeks before she died when she asked me while we were in our dining table to not sell the house kasi yun na lang yung matitirang alaala ko sa kanya if something happens. But when she died, I and my dad has been into depression. It's unescapable. The more we are there, the more na malala yung depression. Until my dad's body almost gave up. And so I decided and rethink a lot of it. That if I would keep it or not. I also thought of the possibilities that could happen. And I was willing to accept it just to not lose another parent. And yung naging result naman is that it's better now. So my 10th cognitive plan of action is that I will always ask help or guidance from a person who's been in my situation. Asking for counsel to the person who have more experiences than you. It was also stated in one of the verses that I watched from a video lecture that where there is no guidance, the people fall, but in abundance of counselor, there is victory. I totally agree with the basis because ever since my mom died, all my problems ay kinimkim ko lang. Because I was afraid na ma-judge or malaman ng mga tao kung ano man yung pinagdadaanan ko. That's why, parang there is one moment when I decided to solve it on my own and it resulted to a bad situation and I regretted it kasi hindi ako nag-ask ng help. So, way back then, I always make sure na sineshare ko yung problems ko sa mga taong malalapit sa akin na comfortable ako. Kasi I feel safe sa kanila and feel ko yung problema ko is hindi maikakalat sa iba, ganyan. And mas kilala nila ako o mas alam nila kung ano yung nangyayari sa buhay ko. And that concludes my cognitive plan of action po. But before I end this, I just want to thank you po for being our professor in this subject kasi we've learned a lot from you po. Or should I say, I've learned a lot from you po. And sana po, ikaw pa rin po yung magiging prof namin sa isa sa mga subjects namin next term. Thank you po and God bless. Bye, sir!